Hope you all are doing great. It's been a long time that we had connected. Let us get into a new topic called strings. So we'll try to dive into one of the most fundamental and useful data type. Strings will help us work with text data and are essential for almost any project. We'll cover basic string syntax, variables, and multi-line strings in this video. In Python, a string is a sequence of characters which we can surround by either single or double quotation marks. This makes it easy to work with any text. Now let us see an example. Hello world. This is a string. Sorry for the typo. Let's see another one. As we can see here in the print method or function, we have written hello world within double quotes, and the second one we have written Python is fun within single quotes. So both ways are fine to work with string or assigning a string value in a variable in Python. Imagine, now let's try to see a real world example. Imagine that we are building a chat bot and the bot needs to greet users. You would use a string for the getting message for it, right? This is one of the real time example. Python allows you to use quotes inside strings. However, if the string starts with double quotes, any inner quotes should be single quotes and vice versa. Now let's try to understand what do I mean by that. See, I started with double quotes and I want to use a single quote somehow, as we have here it's it apostrophe s. So for that, if we are having a scenario where we are going to use a single quote, we need to decorate our string variable inside double quotes and say trying a different example here. She said Python is great. So as we can see here, we are trying to highlight Python is great under double quotes. So we need to make sure that the entire string is decorated inside a single quotes. This is what we need to keep in mind. Now we will see that how we can store a string in a variable and reuse it as needed. This is handy when dealing with longer strings. For example, greeting. So this becomes a variable of type string to store the variable. Now we can use it anytime, anywhere in the program. Think about storing a username and greeting them later. You would assign their name to a variable and use it in a message. This is one of the use cases for using them as a variable. So we can also have multi-line strings. Multi-line strings. Sometimes you need to work with longer texts or messages that span multiple lines, for which Python supports multi-line strings. using triple quotes. For example, say we have a message variable and say we need file come to Python. I will not be able to show this example on this idle shell, but ideally what would happen is we will be able to save multi-line within, say I am trying to make a break offline over here and write the world of possibilities. So here what we could do is we can write after this Python in a new line, which I am not able to show it in the idle shell. Maybe we'll try to see it when we are dealing with Python programming with different IDEs over our future lectures, where I will be able to show you how to we write it in multiple lines. But we need to keep in mind when we are breaking it in multiple lines, we need to use triple quotes. See, this has broken down just because I have used /n. Otherwise, which it would have been practical in different IDs for me to show you. So how is this useful? Let's understand one of the real-time use cases. It will be useful when generating multi-line text, such as emails. Emails will have some formats and all. If we are trying to do some logging during the development, actual development, we will have a lot of logging stuff. Or if we are, the next could be if we are having a large chunk of data, we'll be doing multi-line. So strings can also be used. Uh, Strings are actually array. In Python, strings are treated as arrays of character. It's A, B, C, D. These are array. This means you can access individual characters using an index. Say, for example, I have this variable holding Python, and I am trying to understand what is there in the index 2. So as we all know from our previous lectures that indexing in Python starts with 0. So 0th position for this text will be P, and the first one, as we I have mentioned in the line text uh, inside the bracket 1. So I am trying to access whatever is there at the index 1. As soon as I press enter, we see it is Y. So similarly, if I do text 3 over here, so please guess what could be the character that is going to be printed. It is H, correct. So real world example for this case would be to extract the first letter of a name for generating initials. Okay. Now let us see string manipulations. In simple word, it is like playing with the strings. We can say like we can do slicing, can do functions, we can have f strings. Please don't get confused here. We'll be trying to go through each and everything. So of this, let's see the first thing. We're trying to loop through it. We can loop through each character in a string using a simple for loop. Say I have a letter. This is not a letter, this is a variable, sort of variable. So what I am doing over here is looping through the strings. As I said, string is an array of characters. So this is actually a string variable or a string value Python, and I am trying to take each alphabet from here and put it to letter for letter in Python. So when we run it, what it will do is take P, put it in letter, print it, and until unless then it will go to Y, T, H, and on until unless it ends over here. So this is a for loop for which we will be going through in detail in the loop concept later in our course. But right now, just try to understand this is the way that we can actually access alphabet to alphabet using looping in strings. So this we can use as an example or real world example. This can be useful when we are trying to validate or transform user inputs, like checking if a password contains certain characters. Say I do not want anybody to use ampersand in my code or in my password, sorry. So that how I can check. This is one of the way. Now second is getting the length of string. If I'm trying to get a length, so for this we have a function called len. Say I create a variable called Python is powerful. Now I want to get the length. I will put len, put in length for which we are trying to get, and press enter. So this tells us that we are having 19 alphabets over here. So it will also include space and exclamation, everything within the double quotes. So it is saying there are about 19 characters over here. So how where we can use this actually when we are trying to build a form, we can use length to ensure a user's input isn't too short or too long, which we usually see in the password as well. Maybe there it is like minimum 8 characters should be there, and so on. Let us check substring. Substring check. It is to see if a substring is present in a string. Say in our previous one text, Python is powerful. If I am trying to see if powerful word is present in my say sentence or a line, so this is called a substring, a, a smaller portion of the actual string. If I am trying to understand that if it is present, for this what we can do is, let me create an example variable. Welcome to the Python world. Now if I'm trying to understand if Python is there in message, so what I'm over here trying to do is this Python, the variable that I'm trying to search, I'm trying to see if it is there in the variable message. In is a keyword here, similar for that we were seeing a while back while trying to do a looping. So similarly in this in is a key character which has a special meaning in Python. So now with the substring we are trying to understand if Python has a word present in message. It shows true because it is present. Let's see something which is not present. Orange. If orange is present in my message, if I click on enter, it is not present. So this is how we can check for substring. How can this be useful for us? we can be benefited for searching for specific keywords in a user input, such as filtering bad words or specific commands. Next, let us see about slicing. Slicing would allow us to extract parts of a string, specify the start and the end position using square bracket. See, again, let me take a new variable called Python. And if I'm trying to do a slicing of it, what do you think would happen over here? So from position 1, Y, the slicing will start and it will end 1, 2, 3, and 4. Y, T, and H, and the last number is actually omitted. If I press enter, we see Y, T, H. Y is in the position 1, is in the position 2, and H is in the position 3, and the fourth one will be omitted. That is by rule. So where can we use it actually? We might use this to extract file extensions or parts of a URL in a web application. This would be the real world use case for it. Now let's see if we are trying to change case. Case means upper, lower. There is a function called upper, lower. It will change the case. Say a new example. Now I do text dot upper. It would change everything to capital 1. Similarly, say I have text go back in caps, and I do text dot lower. So it changed it to all to lowercase. So where we can use it? We can convert user inputs to lowercase before validation to make our application case insensitive. There are few places where things are case sensitive. And as we see here, Python is powerful. This has spaces over here. What if we want to remove white space? This space is called white space. For this we can use a strip function. Say I take another variable hello world. So as you can see here, before starting H, I have taken a space. After exclamation, I have a space. Now if I want to remove that extra spaces here and there, what you can do is now text dot strip. The extra spaces here and there have been removed. So where we can use it now? So we can use it for cleaning up user inputs in forms where accidental spaces may be entered. Okay. So now let us try to see replace parts of string. For this we can use replace function. Again, let us see here hello and Python. Now if I want to replace Python with world, so let me do is text dot replace, and it will have two parameters of type string. What I want to replace? I want to replace Python with what? Say I want to replace it with world. So what I am basically trying to do is I have variable called text written hello Python, and I want to replace Python word with a world. So as soon as I click on enter, it will be replaced with hello world. So where we can use this thing now? This comes handy in applications where you need to censor certain words or replace placeholders. Mm, Next, let's try to do splitting, for which we can use split function. What actually is split? This function allows us to break a string into parts using a delimiter. For example, I have a string apple, banana, grape. Now I want to break it. So we'll use keyword or function split and break using which particular character or alphabet with a comma. So wherever comma is there, it will split it out and we will have the detail separated. So it create list apple, banana, grape and give us the value. So where we can use it? We can use it very well with the CSV comma separated values. So we can use it to split a CSV row into individual fields in a data analysis project. After this, let us see two more functionalities. We can use concatenate. So what is it? It means combining strings using plus operator. Say I have a variable called hello and the second variable called world, and I am trying to create a new variable called message where I want to add both first and second. How I can use it? I will do first use a plus and say I am trying to give some space and concatenate using plus. We can use even without using a space, which I will show you now after this. And now if I print, it create a hello world. Now let me show you without using the space. How would it look like, or whether it will work also or not. Second, and give a print message to. See, it comes without space because hello after this or within this double quotes did not have any space and world starting did not have any space. So to make it more readable and useful, we have tried to concatenate using a space. Now let's see about f strings. F strings. F strings are a modern way to format strings used for formatting. Introduced in Python 3.6. You can include variables or even expressions directly in a string using curly braces. Let us see the example now. John of age 30. Now let me add them in my string. So previously we have been not using any f's anywhere above. Now let us see using an f. My name is. So this variable name I'm trying to put using curly brace, and I am age years old. So what this basically does is try to make things dynamic. We can get the variables or values from any source, maybe user input or file or anything, and use it directly. See, my name is John. This name within the bracket, curly braces come from here. Age similarly comes from this study replaced over here. This is one of the use. What is the real world more usage? We can use it for creating an email. Say maybe we are having a template, email template, and we want to replace the values. This is how we can do it. Or we want to format the report. This would be mm, the real time use. This is all that we are going to see for this video.